Hello, welcome back to another fashion show. I'm J Books Corner, and today we are talking about the 30 books that I've read in the month of February. Shooting for 28, read 2 extra, very fun, very exciting. The whole point of this is I'm going to gloss over the books that I have already talked about on the channel, and we're going to talk about the books I have not really got to talk about, and maybe be vague with some of the ones I do know videos are done for. They are coming. It's just, I'm a one-man type of show. That being said, first things first, let's go ahead and jump to a Jacob and a different day explaining to all the books I have published in case you're interested in reading any of them. Hi, how you guys doing? How's that Jacob? Is he doing good? I hope so. That being said, let's talk about Gunshot Residue. Starts off this trilogy. We have P49, which is the second book in this trilogy, and we also have Mr. St. James, which is the final book in this trilogy. All 3 books are available on Kindle Unlimited. All 3 books are wide, so you can buy them anywhere if you don't believe in Amazon. However, the ebook is exclusive to Amazon. I will read you the log lines for all 3. However, we'll go into a little bit more detail what the first one's about because you have to read this one to be able to read these ones. You know what I mean? But let's first go through the log lines. Log lines are simply just like the top part right here. I'm not going to read you any of this. Just this. So the first one is your husband's secrets enough to shatter your world, which I feel like is a pretty good theme for the book. The second one, which is this one, is what are you really capable of? And then the third one, which is this one, is how far are the bounds of love? Essentially, this follows an already married couple, Alex and DeMarcus. They are currently going through some marital problems at the beginning of this book. They've been together for 5 years, and Alex strongly believes that his husband is cheating on him. He just has this feeling. There's other people in his life that are kind of instigating him towards this realization as well, and so he takes it upon himself to figure out if his husband's actually cheating on him or not. And he actually learns that there's a bigger conspiracy mystery going on that overspans 3 different books that has to do with his husband. Once again, they are already married. These are spicy romantic suspense novellas. They're very short and they're very fast paced, so you can read them very quickly. That's all I got for you. I love them, but I wrote them, so I'm biased. That being said, jump back to a Jacob in whatever video you're watching. Today, I'm doing alright. So the best day, but it's not the worst day. Alright, first things first, I want to jump into the fact that I read 4, 5, and 6 for the for Game Changer series, or Heated Rivalry, whatever you want to call it, by Rachel Reed. Number 4, I gave a 3.75. Number 5, I gave a 4, and then on number 6, I gave a 4.25, I think is the way it goes. If you want more detailed, like really in-depth thoughts about these, I do have an entire long vlog going very great in-depth about all of them. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into, maybe I'll do it video based. The next one we'll talk about is that I did finish my next 5-book vlog. This is gonna be the one I finished 2 of these last month, so you'll get to see both of them relatively soon. And the one we're about to talk about is the one that is very representative of the original way I did 5-book vlogs. The other one is not, which we'll talk about as well. I'll hint to it. So I read To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This was a 5-star read for that video. I'm very excited for you guys to see my thoughts and opinions on it. I read this. Sci-fi, very fun, very cutesy. No, I'm just kidding. Sci-fi, it's slower. I definitely say it's high sci-fi, a lot of explanations, but I felt like it was very easy digestible. Just a truly well-made novella. So excited to be able to get that video out for you guys. And then I also read The Will of the Many by James Ellington. I did not have a great time with this, so I'm excited for you guys to experience my experience while reading this as well. I gave it a 3.25, but those are 2 books that you'll be seeing in a video coming soon. Very exciting. Okay, so we have a video that I canceled. We can talk about that next, so you won't get to see my opinions. I also don't have a lot of opinions to talk about right now. I'm skipping a bunch of stuff in between, so we have longer things to talk about. I'm just trying to get rid of the faster stuff. But that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I ended up DNFing this. I picked it up thinking I was going to do a whole non-spoiler or a whole spoiler review of both the movie and the book. And because I ended up not really liking the book, I actually have not seen the movie yet, which is really weird for me. But with Wuthering Heights in particular, I DNF'd this. I'm about 30% into it. I just found it very boring, very tiresome, and I just was not enjoying myself. When I initially read it back in like 2017, I gave it a 2. So I didn't like it back then, and I think my brain was just like, no, it's just not worth the time. It is so long and it's so dense. So I just said, no, wasn't for me. Okay, and then lastly, what we'll run through really quickly is that I did a video dedicated to zombies at the end of this month, which I'm really excited about. And so we'll talk about all these books in much grander details in that video. But I will mention all the books I did read for that. And so if there's a certain one on there, like, oh my god, I'm so excited for it. So the first one I picked up for a zombie vlog is This Is Not a Test by Courtney Summers. I do plan on watching the movie as well when it's come out on VOD. I only played it one showtime during the day that I worked, so I couldn't go see it, which does make me a little sad because I was looking forward to it. However, this is not a test I really did enjoy. This is about a group of teens who get stuck in a school during a zombie apocalypse. I think I landed on like a 3.75 for it, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, that was so early in the month. A 3.25. However, its sequel, which I maybe will put on screen, is Please Remain Calm. It's a little novella. I like much better, much more my style of the zombie story. I gave it a 4. Very dark though, just to give you a heads up. Some other fun ones that I'll mention here, I won't mention all the books I read for that video, so you guys can be like a little bit surprised, is I also read the Zombie Survival Guide, The Complete Protection from the Living Dead. This is a nonfiction written by Max Brooks, as if you're living through a zombie apocalypse, which I very much enjoyed. And then I read Dating After the End of the World by Giovanna Rose. This is another book that I feel like could work for a lot of people. I don't know if it fully worked for me though. And then one of the last ones that I read for that video is Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. Another book I wouldn't know if I would actually classify as a zombie book. There are zombie elements to it. And I think that's all we'll talk about. I started another manga this month. And then throughout the entire month, I filmed a ongoing vlog where I would get a little high, a little stoned, and read some books. So I'm just gonna run through some of those that I ran through as well, see if there's any in there. This test was mostly just for me, as I was curious to see if I could retain the information from these books. I could not. There's a different version of me that could retain the information, which is interesting. I only read one physical book throughout the entire thing. The rest were graphic novels. I didn't finish that this month. I finished it in the beginning of March, so like it doesn't technically count, so we can't talk about it, but it is a video you'll see eventually. And I do have footage of me reading all of this, almost, so it's kind of fun. I read Red Sonja, I read one of hers, I read The Madness, Year Zero, read a little bit of Savage Highway in that video as well. So all those things you can look forward to. And then like I said, we do have a special book that I can't talk about because I didn't finish it. I started that video with reading Life Sucks, which was a book that I was debating about unhauling or not. I am officially unhauling it. This was a book that I read when I was in like middle school or high school, like around Twilight era, and this was a bit more adult than Twilight. It's a bit bloodier, there's a bit more adult content in it, if you understand my drift, but it was one of the worst things I've ever read, so I'm giving it a 1, and even Buzz Jacob gave it a 1, so you know what I mean. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I read 2 nonfiction this month as well. Both of these should be getting their own videos. I already filmed one, I just have to edit it, which I'm excited about. Both of these I found interesting. They both had interesting conversations going on in them. The first one is, this book is Anti-Racist, 20 Lessons on How to Wake Up, Take Action, and Do the Work. This is a story, or this is a nonfiction explaining exactly what that says. It's pretty self-explanatory. My favorite parts about this nonfiction are the activities and how easy it is for you to be able to consume, and how easy it is to use as a teaching manual. I think there's some really good pointers out of here. There wasn't a lot. There's a lot more that I realized that I could take away from it, but there also, like, there was parts of it where I was like, yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. So, but I would highly recommend it. I very much enjoyed myself. And once again, I'll have a more in-depth, non-spoiler review of it as well. And then the last nonfiction that I read this month is I read Your Favorite Scary Movie, How Scream Films Rewrote the Rules of Horror by Ashley Collins. My only complaint with this one, I gave it a 4.5 for 2 reasons. One, this does feel like propaganda for Scream 7, which I do have a problem with. And 2, I really didn't like how Scream 5 and 6 were talked about. It felt like someone who was coming from a mean standpoint talking about the movies. And the fact that nobody from those movies outside of Jasmine Soy Brown, who came back for Scream 7, so they didn't get most of Bear's input and or Jenna Ortega's input, and they had a lot of, I don't even know if like this person went around to interview all these people or not. At some point she got some type of interviews or read some articles and stuff, and she didn't really pull from them, and that was very annoying. However, it's read by Robert Jordan, which I fucking loved. I was like, yes, girl, give it to me. And I also felt like there was a lot of good tidbit information for the first, like, 4 movies. There's some things I didn't really realize or learn that I learned, and I found it to be quite compelling. I gave it a 4.5. However, I do think it's slight propaganda, so there is that. Now, everything else we're going to talk about are books that I don't have anything coming up for. Anytime soon, I should say, because that's like also like another big thing. It's not like, maybe in the future? I'll let you know if there's like any hints of a future thing. So a book I also did not finish was Emily Donovan Is Killing It. I was still looking forward to this Alice Commando. I feel like it could just been up my alley amazing, and it was not. I did not like I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for the characters. I didn't care for the plot. There was nothing a part of it that I was like super interested in. And so I ended up DNFing it around 40% in, and I never looked back, and I've never been mad. So I will not be reading the rest of these. I was so excited. I was so hoping. This also is not cozy to me. This was so stressful. I had not a great time. I had not a great time. If you like it, good for you. But it was not for me. Next one we have is The Reaper in the Waiting, which I gave a 3-star, and to be honest with you, I really don't remember this is about. I know it is a webtoon turned into a graphic novel e-arc that I received, but that's about it. So, I'm very sorry. I wish I could tell you more. I remember the artwork looking a lot like this, so if this is your type of artwork, then yeah, I think it's probably worth your time. I read Flip Flip Slowly by Mom Ankwa, also another e-arc that I got. I gave this one a 4-star. This is about 2 librarians, one older and one younger, who are dibble-dabbling in a relationship. By dibble-dabbling, I mean it's kind of like mentioned, oh, they could form a relationship. It just hasn't happened yet. And so I feel like there is something here. There's a lot of things you could take away from this one, and I think the conversation about young versus old, if they could be together, if this relationship is a little taboo or not, I think it was really nice. I think it was really well paced. So I would recommend. It is on the slower end of BLs, but I feel like a lot of BL mangas have a tendency to be really slow paced. So just to give you a heads up. And I don't remember it getting super steamy, but it could in the very, very end. Awesome. And that is This A Cry for Help by Emily Austin. This was on my 26 and 26. I fucking love this book. I would have a hard time recommending it. It's super intense. Deals with very like hurling subject matter and stuff. This is about a woman who realized that she was a lesbian later on in life. Her husband or her ex-fiance ends up dying randomly, and she has a mental breakdown about it. They've not known each other or been near each other for 6 or 7 years. She ends up going, and it really is about a woman's job in the library as a receptionist dealing with homophobic people, and also about her life, who is under scrutiny because of her job, but also the fact that she had a mental break and she's still recovering. Her wife in this book is not really in the book, but their relationship is very sweet, it's very kind. I just had a beautiful time with this. I felt like it was very real, and I feel like it's very true, and I feel like a lot of people could take a lot from it. I gave it a 5 stars. I could not recommend this more. One of my favorite books of this month. Actually, it might be my favorite book of the month. When I think back on it, this is the one that comes to mind the most when I think my favorite book of the month. So I do think Is This a Cry for Help is, which is super cool. The other one is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Damon. I adored this. However, there were parts of it that it didn't like fully work for me. So I went on a 4.5. This is the first in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I do plan on reading over the next 2 months, reading all of them. So you will see a video coming soon where we are talking about it in like full length details, spoilery facts, and everything about it. I'm so excited. This is just, it took me by surprise, and I just wanted more and more. And it ends in a way where I was like, oh my god, I need the next one. So I think my plan is to read books 2 and 3 back to back, because I feel like that's how it's going to be. So we did Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then we have Gacho Kuda Volume 1. I'm a little bit later than this. I don't exactly remember the first volume starts. I'm reading this for a friend. She loved it, and we were working quite a few different shifts together this last like week or so, 2 weeks or so, and she kept talking about it. I was like, okay, I'll consume a little bit of it. I didn't really like it. This is about a world where there's a sphere where a bunch of rich people live. Our main character is in the slum parts of that sphere, and his dad ends up dying. They end up blaming it for him, and they end up pushing him off the sphere into Trashland. And Trashland is where all of our main characters actually live, and where the story actually takes place. His whole goal is to get revenge and go up and kill everybody in the sphere. We'll see if that ends up happening or not. A lot of other stuff are happening, and I just didn't really care for it. It's not my type of humor either, which I think also plays a factor. However, a character's got introduced where I finished, and I was like, oh, maybe there is something here. At the moment, I don't think there is, but I feel like there could be. And then lastly, the last one I want to talk about is Our Last Night by Taylor Adams. Our Last Night follows this man. He just recently lost his wife. I want to say his wife. It could be his girlfriend. No, I want to say he recently just lost his life in a freak accident on New Year's, and he is going through something troubling. Him and his best friend own this company where they go through haunted mansions, but he does not believe in ghosts whatsoever. He is a person who does not think ghosts are real and does not like ghosts. And so he ends up buying a haunted gun that anybody who buys this gun, who owns this gun for 24 hours, ends up killing themselves with the gun. That's the whole point of it. And there's lots of stories about it. And we're following him as he ends up going through a haunting with this gun and going backwards through time. Me going R1 last night is actually an indicator of like what the whole book's about. I thought this was gonna be like a haunted house story, and this was just like not a haunted house story, like at all. And I didn't really like it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really didn't like it. I wanted to like it, and I did not. I did not care for it. I gave it a 2.5. It's probably like a 2.25. I just think Taylor Adams has done better. This is one of his earliest releases. That's all. That being said, what did you guys all read in the month of February? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.